You see, I don't lift planetary weight like Xavier does. So,
Oh God, here we go.
you know what I'm
Here
saying?
we go.
I was modestly
Every
lifting.
week.
Yeah, you gotta give
Hey,
credit where credit is due. You know what I'm saying?
let me tell you something about your boy right here. This guy, when he starts warming up, everybody in the gym turns Christian. They
Oh,
start crossing. They start doing the cross on their face and all that.
get out of here. This guy. Nah, man. Nah,
Y'all crazy.
I was I was at the gym this morning, like, it's customary for me on a Saturday morning. And I actually met a guy named Alex, and he said that he works in sales. He also works in tech. He works with like selling products for like AMD, Nvidia. He's also invested in it, and he doesn't really invest like that because he's not really that savvy with it. And I told him, hey, you should come join the Discord and everything. We'll help you out. And I actually sat there talking to him on the bench next to him the whole time. Like we did a couple sets, and then I said what's up to him, and an hour later or more, I'm walking out of the gym. Uh, but I work out 6 days a week, so the workout, not missing a day of like really working out, isn't really gonna hurt me. I don't have those X-Men genetics like Xavier has, but I'll be all right. I'll
Yeah.
recover. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, but no, man, I talked about how Wu Tang Clan made the song Cream, Cash Rules Everything Around Me years ago, right? And I said, in certain circles, that is correct. That is very correct. But the problem is, it's right for those communities, but as a whole, that's incorrect. Cash doesn't rule everything around you, and if it does, you're living wrong. And America's no better. America don't run on Duncan. That's incorrect. And money doesn't make the world go round. It's relationship. It's all relationship. And I said I prove it to you. And he already knew this, but it was just a good conversation we had. I said, credit. You could be broke, walk into the dealership with perfect credit, and walk out with a brand new car. How do you do that? Relationship. Credit is part of relationship. So like I know, back in a long time ago, let's say the times of Rome, right? Before the turn of the century, before when BC was still around. Let's go BC. Rome was around, right? In Rome, the first credit score was your reputation. Your reputation in the village, in the town, in the city, and your relationship with people. That was your credit. That R is a big piece of that credit score, right? And so if you needed to borrow two copper coins to get some bread or some cheese and milk from the grocery store, somebody would be like, "Hey, this guy asked me to borrow two coppers tomorrow so he can get some food. Is he do you know this guy?" If nobody knows you, guess what? Womp womp. Relationship failed. You ain't getting it, right? Um, but if somebody does know you, that could be good. But now if they do know you, what is your reputation? If that's negative and they do know you, well, then same thing. But if they do know you and your reputation is good, then they'll probably lend you the two coppers, right? And so that's how the world works. And so I sat there with him and talking to him, and he said he's seen me in there with my t-shirts on before, and he will check out the podcast. I sent him the invite for Discord just because we're really growing inside this Discord, and I'm very, very pleased with the guys that have been joining because they're all contributing something. They're all um that we're all learning from each other. We're all contributing. We're all building the community that we want to see. Not just a lot of people will be upset and complain about how society is now rather than getting involved and doing something at their level to build the future that they want to see. And it doesn't even have to be that far in the future. You can just build the reality you want to see and you keep going and that becomes the future. So yeah, I didn't even get a chance to work out this morning. I was actually in good conversation and a lot can come from that, you know. So return on investment.
So, the way a lot of people think, it's the problem that we have in this society is that no one got taught anything about that.
Yeah.
You go to school, you learn all this stuff, but you never learn about finance. You never learn about that. And when you finally reach an age where you start borrowing money, you get credit cards, you start building relationship with banks. You're technically going into this blind because you never learned anything about it,
Yeah.
and most likely your parents never taught you anything. If you're in the majority case, you have certain communities that do teach you, like Jewish community and certain people here and there, but
That's right.
you start borrowing for the wrong reasons and start spending the money that you borrowed in the wrong places, and you get yourself into a lot of problems. And that's where the term comes, cash is king.
That's
And
true. That's
so
true.
you buy anything cash, you put the cash down, and you just take that problem off of you because now you don't have 80 payments to worry about for a car, or 30 years of payments for a house if you buy it cash.
Very true. Very true.
There
Um
was a term. There was a term that popped up on my feed yesterday. I'm gonna start looking into it because it was a word that I've never uh, seen before when it came to finances, and the word was usury. And it
usury?
was interesting. Yeah, usury. I've never
Yeah.
heard that term
So old
before
term.
until yesterday.
Yeah.
And usury back in the day was illegal, and the only people the term usury comes from lending money. And before, they say it was illegal to lend money out, and the only people that was lending money like that was the Jewish community.
That's
They would
right.
go from city to city. They would lend money and charge you an interest rate every time you to pay them back. And a lot of governments started kicking them out from the cities and communities. A lot of kings, they would kick out the Jewish people because they didn't want them owning or being owed all this money. Because in a couple of years, you start lending, you practically own everything around the city.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Usury is an archaic term. We don't really use it anymore. But even in the Bible, there's the story. They tell it in I think John, and they talk about how the good master had three servants, and he was going to be going away to a distant land, and he was going to give his servants a measure of money. So he gave one guy 5 gold coins, one guy I think two, and one guy one. The five invested it and earned five. The two invested and earned two. But when he came back, the one, he took it and buried and wrapped it in a napkin and buried it in the earth. And the master said, called him wicked, and said, you should have at least invested it at the bare minimum. So, and I would have earned some usury off of it at least. So what he was kind of getting at is you could have at least lent it to somebody with a good reputation, and I could at least got a couple of bronze coins with that gold coin back. So I would at least earn 15%, 5%, 3%. I get it. Maybe not 100% like the other two guys, right? But could I at least have gotten something? And so he took the coin from him and gave it to the guy who had 10. Um, so that is even you're exactly right. Talking about earning money and stuff like that is really an archaic concept, but or I should say it's not new to the world. It's not new. And how that looks today, you could at least put your money in a savings CD or a high yield savings and get 3 to 5%, at least catch up with inflation, if not exceed it a little bit. And that's what he was saying. So yeah, usury, that's good, man. You know, a good spot for a lot of financial literacy is Investopedia. Y'all ever heard of this?
Oh, well, that's the first for me.
Yeah, I've
Investopedia.
heard the term.
Okay. Investopedia is a great website where you can learn a lot of financial literacy. It talks a lot about news, from real estate to stock market to just like you can see portfolio construction and how to advisor counsel, practice management, financial planning. And the I forget the CEO of Investopedia, but he has been on Earn Your Leisure's program quite a few times. I know what he looks like. I just can't remember his name, and obviously I got Google up. I'm gonna look him up right now. But very smart guy, man. All of their talks, I love listening to them talk about what he thinks about different topics or whatever. But where's his name? Investopedia CEO. David Siegel. No, that's not him. That's not his name. Let me put an apostrophe here. No, maybe he was the creator of Investopedia. I can't remember. I know his name if I saw him. Caleb Silver. That sounds familiar. Maybe that's him. But this is it's a very good website if you want to look something up. Is what I'm getting at. But Curtis, do you want to talk all about the VASH program? I think that'd be a great thing to cover.
Hey, is it too loud on this side?
No.
Okay. So I wanted to, yeah, as the blacksmith himself mentioned, I wanted to go over the HUD VASH programs.
Is this
HUD
something
is
you can
Housing
cam
Urban
up on or
Development.
no?
Say again?
Is this something you can cam up on or no?
No, not right now.
Okay, okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. So the HUD VASH program is essentially, let me grab this because the funny thing is I went to an event and it was a veteran, I believe it was the veteran stand down event that they do in my state. And they do it at least once a year. And they had it at a local park. So my family went in my stead because I couldn't make it. And someone passed out this flyer. And the funny thing is, I just found the flyer in the to be shredded pile as I was shredding documents. And I was like, hey, hon, why is this in the trash? Did you see this? She was like, oh, your brother must have done it, which I believe. Um, so HUD is Housing Urban Development. And the VA has now recently partnered with the Housing Urban Development to create a new program called HUD-VASH. And VASH stands for VA, geez, where is it? VA Supportive Housing.
Hey, real
So
quick.
VASH. Yeah.
So, do y'all see my screen? I clicked the HUD link, and look what came up. The radical left in
Oh,
Congress shut.
geez.
Yeah, I know. It's on the site. The radical left in
What the
Congress
heck?
shut the government. Look, this ain't me. This is HUD will
This
be.
is HUD?
Yeah, this is HUD. HUD will
They're
use
allowed
available
to
resources to help.
politicize that?
I didn't think so, but that's what it said. Look, I clicked this from Google, right? Watch this. So I just put in, yeah, this is wild. VASH program right here. I hit enter. And then the first site down, this is HUD, Veteran Affairs Supportive Housing. I was typing it in as you said it. And then when you click this,
Yep.
Bamsies, there it is. So that's
Is
where we're at,
wild.
folks. Look, I'm gonna tell you, if you like the color green, then you look. Okay. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. This is what I do. I like the color green, so I'm not blue and I'm not red. Though I like to flash this red t-shirt because I do like the red with the Blacksmith podcast logo and stuff. But I'm not red, I'm not blue. I'm purple because I love the green. You know what I mean? Well, I shouldn't say love. I like getting the green because the love of money is the root of all evil. So let's not go there. But you get what I'm saying. So like, I do not make things politicized on this channel. Y'all don't hear me doing that stuff. I'm not saying vote for this person, vote for that person. Look, man, everybody's gonna vote with who their family's interest best aligns, right? Yes. And so for me to sit here and be like, I can't believe you voted for this person. Oh, so you believe in killing folks? And people get so radical about that kind of stuff, man. No, all they might want is the healthcare coverage for their family. You have no idea why some people might vote the way they do. So to hold it, anyway, I don't politicize stuff on this channel, right? I just keep it very even keel. And I think that makes a good environment where we know we can talk about stuff. I'm also not offended by people talking about it either. You know, I keep an open mind. But when this popped up, I just wanted to address it because it's going to show, right? This popped up. This wasn't me. I didn't do this. I don't control this website. But this is why we can't get anywhere in this country. This is why us creating this Discord and this community of folks who are looking to do some real good is necessary, because the government might not necessarily get far because they're too busy fighting with each other. And I think they all have, inherently, I think they all have good intentions, but how they do it, when they do it, where they do it, whatever, they're not getting it done, obviously. Because they're talking about we are not going to get paid on the 15th. And yeah, we are serving our country currently. And I'm just laying facts. So this ain't even opinion. We were told we were not going to get paid on the 15th. So I had to call Navy Federal yesterday and work the program. They have a program set up for us where they're going to give us a 0 interest free loan to the nearest $500 of what we normally get paid, to help shore us up. And USAA has it as well. I didn't go with them. I bank more with Navy Fed. My direct deposit goes to Navy Fed. And this is a kind of long, but I'll wrap it up here. I'm just saying that this whole thing is affecting many, many more people than just a few people in Congress, which the total number is what, 535, right? They can't decide on something, yet the ripple affects millions upon millions. And we're doing stuff like this. So then we know HUD right now is right leaning, obviously, because the secretary is under the appointed secretary of HUD would now be under Republican leadership. So this is what we're worried about doing. We can get this message out on this website, but we cannot vote on we can't decide on a budget and on things that affects millions. I think we're worried about the wrong stuff. But anyway, go ahead, Curtis. You could talk more about HUD. I'm sorry. I just had to address it because it's going to pop up. It's crazy. Oh, and it's on the site itself. Even when you close it out, look.
That's very.
Even when you close it, look.
You said what?
It's in the background. I X'd out the message that was overlaid on the top, and it's in the background on the site. That's crazy. We're too busy worried about left or right or blue and red, and we can't get stuff done. Anyway, go ahead. We're going to get this done.
Yeah. Yeah. So all that I'm gonna just continue and try to wrap it up, not take too much time. So what I wound up finding is that the VA does support a section of HUD. They partnered with HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and it's the same deal where you essentially receive case management help if you're, someone who's eligible for the program, which it seems like they're targeting homelessness, and they'll give you case management that includes supportive services from the VA with a Section 8 housing choice voucher. So if you become a part of this program as a landlord, you can then rent your apartments, your homes can then be rented to veterans, which it would be the same as renting the Section 8. Veterans, you might get a little bit more, maybe get a little bit less stability, because if you're dealing with homelessness, it don't matter if you're military or not. If I had a choice, I'd rather rent to a vet than a non-vet, because I know at least in basic training, they had a certain standard of cleanliness that they went through. They had a certain standard of care, of routine, and they might be slightly more organized than a non-VA, than a non-veteran, but still the program's meant to help everybody. But essentially, if you become an approved landlord, the homeless veterans will receive a voucher, and they can use that voucher to then redeem for a monthly stipend to stay at your home, and you get paid. Now, it says the advantages of becoming a HUD BASH landlord: guaranteed income, see reliable monthly rental payments through the local housing authority, and fair market rent on your property. So they're going to assess the fair market value, and that's how they're going to determine what your property should be able to rent for. And of course, I'm assuming you get a say in that as well, because if you don't agree with their fair market value assessment, you can use your own comps and try to reach an agreement with them. A say in security deposits: set your own amount based on the local standards. So again, they're going to use whatever the local is to determine what security deposits get set. Annual property recertification is a third-party inspections that help to maintain quality. That's to ensure that your home is fitting the minimum standards necessary to be considered for the program, is what I'm assuming. Benefit of
It
these
is.
services: ongoing case management provides a safety net for tenants and lowers default risks. So if they're helping the veterans, they're helping them to stay on track, and that lowers the possibility, not completely eliminates it, but lowers the possibility and mitigates the risk of them defaulting on their rental agreements, especially because if HUD is paying you and they determine that person's getting kicked off the program, at least you should get your last check from HUD before they're made to vacate. So, and the last thing that it says is a chance to honor those who serve. HUD VASH landlords are part of the solution to ending homelessness among veterans who sacrifice so much to keep our country safe and free. And I love that. So that's something that I found out from going to a veteran stand down event where they work to stave off homelessness. So to partner with this, one of the things you guys could do is you can contact your local banks and you can look at all their foreclosed properties that didn't sell at auction. Many of them, and thanks Xavier for the suggestion. I was looking at pre-foreclosures and trying to get those before they went to foreclosure, but you can also look at homes that actually hit foreclosure, didn't sell, and you can then negotiate with the banks to try to purchase these foreclosed homes, renovate them, and then make them part of this HUD program. So if a house costs $21,000 to buy, say you need another $21,000 to fix it up, for $42,000, you can now put that on the HUD program. And if in your area you can get $800 for rent, that's $9,600 in a calendar year. That times 4, you'd be, what are we at? I said 800 times, so 9,600. So you in 5 years you'd be at 50,000 minus 4,000. So you'd be at about what? What are we talking? 46,000, somewhere about there. And at that rate, in 5 years, you've made your return on investment. You can now use that cash flowing property to get a loan to flip and do the same thing again with another foreclosed property. So it has its advantages and it helps our veterans. So if you guys want more information, of course, You can try to contact your local HUD and ask them about the requirements for it and see if you qualify. That's all I got.
You know what's crazy about this? And thank you for sharing. He actually just told me about this morning. And actually, when I got to the gym, I was talking to him, and he told me about this. And look at the screen, right? They're saying this notice makes approximately 34 million in additional HUD VASH funding available for PHAs. Right, right. So there is a lot of funding for this. Hey, can somebody mute their mic? Or unless you're trying to talk. Cyril, your mic is going off.
I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. It happens. This is a show where we do open mic and open. If you want to cam up, you can. If you have something you want to share, you can do that. I'll open the floor in just a second. But so I thought you might have been wanting to share, and it's fine. It's fine. It happens. So look, they put even more funding into this program, is what I'm getting at, right? So somebody's gonna make this money. Somebody is going to get this money. Why not you? So I'm actually glad Curtis found this and was sharing it. I think you said it was a letter that came to your house, right? You're muted.
No, we went to a veteran
Okay.
stand-down event. Yeah, we went to a local veteran stand-down event that was happening in a place called Shooty Park,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the people there were handing out the flyer.
Okay. Did you meet any of them personally?
Our youngest brother and the wife went, so they did. They met the representatives. They always have people from the Department of Veteran Affairs. They always have your state folks there. Sometimes you'll have elected officials like Senate, Congress members will be there. And that's where you really get to get out in front of those people and make some sales pitches for some of the things you'd like to see happening with the state and the counties. And you can actually get their contact info sometimes, and they can forward that stuff to the secretaries. So it's actually a good chance to come out and meet some folks who are trying to be local and public in the community and community facing.
So y'all hear what he's talking about, right? That's called relationship. And again, is this the thing that happened a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that Winston was talking about you guys went to, and he was handing out your business cards and stuff? Yeah. All right. So cool. All right. So that leads me to this.
Yeah.
So I was actually on the phone. Winston's our youngest brother. He's in here sometimes, but right now he works on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So he's not usually here on Saturdays on the live. He was going to this thing, and I was actually on the phone with him because Curtis has a business with his wife, my lovely sister-in-law Jasmine, and they help homeless vets. Or no. I'm sorry. They help people whose home might be in foreclosure and is about to get auctioned off. And a lot of times the people won't know that if they auction their house off, they're how could I say it? They have a claim to that equity in that home. So if they owe nothing on that house, and that house is sold on the market for 60 grand, but it's worth 300,000, part of that 240 is theirs as the homeowner, but they don't know that. So he goes around and they let them know their rights, and they try to help them get claim that money, right? And they made a business out of that. And there's a market for it because people are losing their homes, right? And so for that, he builds relationships with people. So my youngest brother, Winston, or our youngest brother, Winston, I was talking to him because I asked him, hey, have you guys looked at your local realtors, your local community banks or regional banks, credit union, local credit union. Have you guys went and shook hands with these guys, took them to lunch, talked to them, and actually just started building a relationship with them? Because if you do, they will help you. Um, but I obviously actually be interested in the people, just enjoy meeting new people, get out there and talk to them. But that's what these large corporations do. These guys take these guys to lunch. They learn what makes these guys tick. They learn why they got into finance. They learn why they're a branch manager and stuff like that. And they build a relationship with them. And then you don't even have to ask. They'll call you up one day and be like, "Hey man, didn't you say you were looking for homes that were about to hit the market? That was what you did, right? Hey, well, I got this home you might be interested in." So I asked him, did he do that? And he said, you know what? He didn't say yes or no. He said, you know what? That's smart. You're right. And then he just went off. And I was like, see, it's relationship, man. You never know. Like I was saying, I was rushing to get home because I met it. Like I said, Alex was such a cool dude, man. We sat there and talked for probably an hour. And we were talking about the power of relationship. You just never know the guy working out on the bench next to you. Because Xavier and Luis were working out in that same gym for, I don't know, months before I actually talked to them. The guy walking next to you, guy in the cubicle next to you. You just never know. These people are all interesting. We're all people. We're all doing stuff. And if you sit there and let somebody be a mystery to you, you might actually be missing out on somebody who could actually be a good friend to you. Or somebody else might need to be connected to them that's connected to you. But because you refuse to talk to people or just be off on your own, you can't help nobody. So, did you have some more on the VASH program, Senior?
No, but I did want to I want to make sure that you all understand the part that he mentioned earlier, and that is, it's not that whatever the house sells for, they deduct whatever you owed. So, say for example, in the case where the house sells for 60,000, if you had that house paid off entirely, you would wonder, okay, well then how'd you lose the home? Well, if you don't pay your county taxes every year,
Property
they can
taxes.
auction your
Yep.
home off for that.
Yep.
Yep. Whether it's school tax, sewer tax, water bill, utility bills,
Yep.
that can get you gone.
Yep.
And they will auction your house for $500, $2,000, and that's what the bidding usually starts at.
You went.
So,
How many of
if
these have
folks
you
don't
gone
show
to?
up, I went to a lot. Folks are showing up from Pennsylvania, New York, Maryland, and they're showing up with deep pockets. One dude bought multiple homes that were over 300,000 when the bidding was over. And so the crazy thing is here you have to yeah, depending on the county, you need a $2,000 or $4,000 check that you give them that they can cash that same day. So then if you win that particular bid, they get to keep that check. So if you plan on bidding on 2 homes for one county, you must have 2 of those $2,000 checks. Whereas
Are these
another
cashier
county, their rule
checks?
was, and I have to verify, 2 separate checks, because that's basically your down payment to hold your place in line. And you can't even register as a bidder without those checks, at least one. So if you bid on 2 homes and win those 2 homes, that holds your place for that, and then you have till the end of the day to get the rest of that money to them. So, and in some places and I got to check the rules, they might have like, you got a week or whatever have you. But in addition to that, so yeah, if you owed nothing but your house is worth 60,000, say it's a trailer, the depreciated is worth 60. You owe nothing but $500 of a sewer tax. They're going to auction your property after much notice. They're going to put that county notice on your door. The sheriff's sale is going to auction your property off. You don't pay it by 9 a.m. that morning. Your house goes on the roster with everything else, and to the highest bidder goes your home. So if your house is technically worth 60, but someone else sees the value in it and it sells at auction for 60, you are owed 60,000 minus the $500 you owed in that utility bill or that property tax or that HOA fee that you didn't pay. And the HOA will get your home sold at county auction. Yes, indeed, they will.
I got a stupid question.
What's up?
Now, this is wild, but just hear me out because I'm sure it's happened somewhere USA. Let's say you owe, yeah, it's going to be wild. Yeah, you probably already know what I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
Can you, let's say you didn't pay your HOA fee, it's $300, right? I don't know, let's say whether extenuating circumstances, because I can't see anybody doing this. This can't be a regular situation, right? Maybe you weren't home, maybe you moved somewhere else. Yeah, something like that. Maybe you didn't physically get the notice for whatever reason. Your house goes on the auction block. Can you show up and buy your own home?
You can, because they don't care who it is.
That's a good question.
But I understand that if the bidding starts at that amount, you bid on it. Yeah, somebody can bid above it.
No, go ahead.
Hey, what's going on?
Def Echo, what'd you say?
Def Echo.
Invited by Joaquin here.
Oh, you know him. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he calls me Curtis.
Oh, okay. I was wondering who he was talking about.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's his first. That's first and middle name. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You said, what were you saying, though? You said it was a dumb question? I agree.
No. I said that's a smart question.
No, I heard you. I'm just kidding.
So one of the things that I plan to use as a strategy is if I know the homeowner losing their home and I have enough money to buy that home and the bidding goes above what I want, and I know like, hey, that person only had a $5,000 sewer bill. Hey, if I go to auction and I bid it up to about 60 and the house is only worth 20, say it's a trailer or something, but somebody really wants that house more than me, once it gets over the number I want, I just stop bidding. And guess what? I now get to help them cash that check.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yo.
so your house can go for auction for dumb stuff like that, even if it's fully paid off and you 100% own it.
Yeah, because you never 100%.
There you go.
In America, because
there you
pay
go.
Property taxes.
You heard that? You never 100% own your home in America.
You don't even own your own devices anymore. You can't get them fixed.
Yes.
Unless you send it to the manufacturer.
Well, same thing with the cars. They're making the cars to where you get these new cars. It's like my wife says our Tesla, our Model 3 is like driving an iPhone. And a lot of these things you can't even work on yourself anymore. They make you take them. There you go. I only got one because I commute.
After driving myself around, but you know, if you can't do anything with it, nah.
Yeah, I only bought one because my commute is 75 miles one way to work. So gasoline, I was getting eaten up in that cost. So it was either buy a turbo diesel, which I actually preferred, or because we got solar panels and stuff on the house, just go ahead and get a Tesla. And so we already had the charging station in the house when we bought it. So I let
Would that even out? Turbo diesel with the price of diesel? I know it's more efficient and you get better mileage, but with the price of diesel, would that even out?
So somebody mentioned that to me the other day because they said they jacked the price of diesel way up because they know it's all a money game, man. They're going to get their money one way or another because if you leave diesel cheaper, then you have all these people that's getting away with murder in their eyes because they're barely paying anything. So I don't know. Turbo diesel, that those things will get you 30 and 40 miles a gallon on the highway, you know. One of them was advertised. I saw a Jetta or something. It was like 47 miles a gallon on the highway and nearly 40
the
throughout
TDI?
the city. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and I was, so I had my eye on, it was a 2014 Jetta wagon. It was a 6-speed
Mm-hmm.
manual and it was a turbo diesel. And I was like, man, I don't care if it's a I don't care. I'm at an age right now where, or I say I'm in a mindset right now where it doesn't really matter what it looks like. I don't care what it is. I just need to get back and forth the cheapest way possible. If it's safe, you know, look, I don't care. And I almost got it too, but I couldn't get the guy bid to come down on the price. And I do the same thing I do
Yeah.
every time. I walk in the door, I say a price. They kind of go back and forth with me. I say a price and I validate why I said the price. And then if I know that car has been sitting for a while, I'll be like, hey man, that car has been there
Yeah.
30 days. It can be there another 30 days, or you can sell it to me. I have the cash or I have the credit. One of the two. I've already you're not gonna find a 20-year-old come looking for this. You got
Mm-hmm.
me. And so I then let us hang up. We disagree amicably. And then if they can't sell that car in 2 weeks, my phone will be ringing. It's okay. And so, yeah,
Yeah. Kind of
that's
haggle a little bit.
Can
that's
y'all see
right.
this?
Yeah.
See what? You're
This
showing
is
something?
I
Take
Hold
a
on.
bought this
screenshot.
with
Let me click on
I
you.
bought this with what I call an iFixit kit.
There we go.
And I bought the big iFixit kit that helps me do. I did some field tech work, Sean, for a little bit after leaving where we both worked, and
Oh,
so
okay.
I wanted the kit. Yeah, so I did what basically Dennis did. But the very first line in blue and white, if you can't fix it, you don't own it. And Sean, you
Lewis
hit on
Rossman.
something, huh?
I said Lewis Rossman.
Yeah, so you hit on something very profound when you talked about how they're making sure you can't fix it. And I'll apply that even to homes because if you are going to be a landlord and you have to pay a plumber to install a toilet and the plumbing's already there, if you have to pay them to repair a leak and it's just a pipe or not just a pipe, it's just a little connecting cable from the faucet to the doggone whole spigot, and you got to call a repairman for that, you're going to eat yourself alive in cost. You're not going to be able to
Yeah.
profit and upkeep as much as you would whereas if you were to actually be there to own it. So that's one of the risks of owning property in a remote location
Yeah.
is because then your
People usually
fees are going to
keep
be a lot higher for repairs.
yeah, they'll keep a maintenance guy
So
on
that,
retainer.
So
but of course,
Curtis
then
has like a three
again,
second delay. I don't know why, but
Yeah,
it
a little
happens
bit.
to him every week. He has like a 3 second delay. I don't know. So he ain't trying to talk over you. He just didn't get the message yet.
Oh yeah, I know. I kind of noticed that.
well, I don't know how he don't have it because he's in the same state I'm in. That's crazy.
I'm on
Wait,
Wi-Fi
okay. I was gonna say you're on Wi-Fi,
and I'm
but
at work.
okay. Are you using your phone speaker or do you have corded headphones like him?
Oh me? No, I have
I have
AirPods.
cordless.
You have cordless? It looks like a cord.
Mm-hmm. It is, but it's not physically attached. It's Bluetooth.
Oh, maybe the type of Bluetooth you're using creates the delay. No, because it's video too, huh?
It could.
Are you on Wi-Fi or cell?
Well, yeah, because I have both, but Wi-Fi is currently the active. But I can see between me moving on my screen and me moving up there,
Yeah,
there is a delay still.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Seife. So it's a visual and an audio
Got
delay.
it.
Yo, so all
Got it.
right, changing gears. The
This
market,
guy.
the market. Mr. Cyril hit me up this week about the market. He was asking me about some of these. So let's look into some of these. What these stocks do this week, right? All right. So let's look at the market. Now, I was asked about QUBT, shut it, quantum computing, the past week down 11%. All right, but it's up the past month, and year to date is 13%, and 1 year is off the charts, 3,000% almost. So, I think we're still up if you bought low. They had this store, and I don't know if it still exists. When we lived in South Carolina and when we lived in Georgia way back in the 90s, called Buy Low. Look, if you buy low, you never have to worry about no dip in the market. This is why I tell you, do not, I repeat, look, the stock price from where I bought $6.98 is almost triple. Because triple would be about 21 bucks, right? It's almost triple. So if you buy low, you don't have to worry about that. And for you to buy low, that's why we put this group together, right? So we can tell people about stuff before it explodes so they can get in at a great price and they can get some of that equity as well. So we see what happened with quantum computing for the past week. Let's go back here. But I will say this before we look at some of these other companies. Understand, if these are solid companies, you don't have to worry one way or another, because they're going to bounce back. So you do not have to be so ultra concerned with, oh my God, D-Wave Quantum in the past week actually went up. D-Wave Quantum beat it. I didn't know it did, and D-Wave Quantum for the past month is up 103%.
I'm in on D-Wave.
Hey, look, since January, almost 300%. The past year, 3,700%. Right? So D-Wave Quantum computing, I bought those and I almost got in on this one, and I should have, but I have been telling other people about it. So IONQ, I always say it wrong. IONQ is now at $71. Good Lord, have mercy. It only dropped nearly 1%. Right?
Yeah, I'm mad. I bought that at 40.
In the past month, it's up 62%. Since January, it's up 74%. I knew I should have bought it when I saw it low last year. And it's in the past year, it's up 600%.
Yeah, what's up?
What
I
happened?
should have hit some more. OT. That's what I should have done.
Man, listen.
Why?
Huh? Somebody saying something.
Why?
Right?
You said you should have got some more OT?
So he could buy more.
Yeah, because that's where I was
doing
putting
a whole
basically. That's where I was putting a lot of my money. Have at it, brother. Have at it. But yeah, we don't buy it anywhere near the 52-week high.
Heck no, you shouldn't. And another thing, right? Look, folks, if we're gonna invest in the market, and Mr. Cyril, if you're able to and you want to chime in, you can go ahead and unmute, and you can chime in on some of this. Even if you have questions, if you have comments, concerns, feel free, folks. The typing chat is open, which Curtis just used, and then I'm gonna get to that one in just a second. And then this is a show where you can actually unmute today and speak if you want to. I don't typically on Saturdays, what I was doing when I first started it is I was always like teaching a course or putting on a clinic with life insurance, with trust, with spending plans, budgets. I was teaching something every Saturday. But here's the thing. We are still learning today, but guess what? I'm just not the only one teaching. And that's what I created this platform to be. I'm a blacksmith and master of my craft, primarily in air traffic control, because that's what I've been doing for the past 17 years, right? No, not the glow stick crap where they're YMCA No, we sit in those tall towers at the airports or in a radar room, a room with no windows, and tell the planes Delta 8956, climb and maintain 3000, turn left heading 270. You know what I mean? So we keep them separated so they can get you there safely, right? A high income skill, yes. And I've been doing it for the Navy for 17 years. So I'm a senior chief. I'm still active duty. So there's two crafts I'm a master of. You got military, you got air traffic control, and I guess military and where I am also leads into a soft skill called leadership. Very, very pertinent, right? And this one is my 5 to 9, not 9 to 5. This one is my this one is dang, I lost what I was gonna say. But this is I forgot what I was going to say, but this is where I can put those soft skills and those hard skills. Well, not really the hard skill. I can't put air traffic control to use here, but I can put the soft skills of leadership and the other skills like financial literacy to work here, and I can educate. But I love these Saturdays because the vision always was, and Curtis knows this, was that I was going to bring other people together who are blacksmiths and masters of their crafts. Maybe they're in construction. Maybe they're in tech, which he is, right? Maybe they're in real estate, which Xavier is. So they can come on and put on clinics with what they know. Now we all are getting smart together. So whereas if this were a video game, well, maybe you're one
Now we're talking.
huh?
And so now we're talking.
Yeah, see? So like
Speak my
it's
language.
kind of like yeah, me too. Maybe it's like video games, like if you ever play Elder Scrolls or what's it called, Fallout, where you can see each individual parameters experience level. Maybe your bare fisted is maxed out, or maybe it's at a 25 because you punch everything, right? Well, there's somebody in the what do you call it, the companions, that'll teach you how to use a sword. They'll train you in one hand sword 5 times a day, right? So you can go to them a couple days in a row, and your one hand sword technique might be just as good as your bare hand technique, but it takes relationship in order to do that. You first have to know those people. So you first, like Faendale comes with you from the beginning if you solve the problem between the girl and the other guy. Finn, I think, I don't know, Faendale. And he is
Oh,
like a
yeah.
level 50 when it comes to archery. So I'm a sniper. I will take that bow and anybody, right? And so Faendale would train me 5 times a day, each day. And you know what? I was so dumb. He was traveling everywhere with me, and I'd be like, "Ooh, a piece of candy! Ooh, a piece of candy!" Every time I would go into his inventory and give him items that I was picking up on the ground, right? And I would always see money. I was like, how does this guy have gold all the time? Is he picking this up? And I was such an idiot. You're giving him the money to train you, and you can just go take it back because he's a companion of yours. So I didn't realize that, right? And then I found out a really good glitch in the game where, you know, the game's realistic. So you can, well, to a certain extent, because how are you carrying all these hammers and pieces of armor on your body, right? But you can only
carry 10 maces on you.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you got the jacket, you open your jacket and you just see 10 maces.
And
But
watch.
yeah, and still be able to sneak around and sprint and run and all. It's not. If you had like a wagon you were bringing with you and you would load up the wagon, that would make sense. But then how do you get that around corners and all that? But anyway, so you could only carry a certain amount of weight depending on what your strength or endurance is at. I don't remember which one is the how much you can carry. Until you're over encumbered and you walk super slow, you can't run, and it's better to just drop the weapon and stuff somewhere and run back to town, sell it all, and come back and get it, right? But I found a glitch where you can just look at it and call your companion and tell them to pick it up. And they don't have if you do it that way, they don't have, versus giving it to them. If you give it to them, they have a maximum that they can carry. But if you tell them to pick it up because you ordered them to do it, there's a glitch where they can pick it up no matter how much it is. Crazy, right?
Ooh, I did not know that.
But my point in mentioning video games, right? Not to get too nerdy. I think here was the line, and I pole vaulted over it. But my point was, you have some things that you're strong at, and you have other things that you're not strong at. But with community, you can be actually shored up in any and everything, right? Because people have different strengths because they have different experiences. They have different hard skills and soft skills. But when you bring them all together, we can't be stopped. We're like one invincible unit, whereas individuals, we can be stopped pretty easily. It's like the whole purpose behind the Justice League or the X-Men, right? Weaknesses exist. Superman has a weakness, and it's just a piece of rock that could take him to his knees and make him as strong as a newborn, or as weak as a newborn, because he's naturally way stronger than that. And all you would have to do is use that. That's how a man without superpowers, Batman, actually beat him, right? So it's the point of like, it's the same concept. You bring people who are the fastest, the strongest, they have strength and speed. They can fly. They can't, but they can tunnel under the earth. You bring all these superpowers together. Now as a unit, you're invincible. Same with X-Men, though they got their clocks punched a couple times, especially when Phoenix entered the game. But I'm just saying, that's the purpose of this. So I love this. Let me get to these. Yeah, you're right.
Off topic a little bit.
Go ahead.
Like, how would Wolverine even beat Magneto? He could literally just murder him and crush him.
So that actually happened in the comics. If you're a comic book head, he actually, one time Wolverine almost killed Magneto, right? So what Magneto did was say enough. And I don't know why he didn't think of this sooner, but Magneto actually pulled all of the adamantium off of his skeleton, ripped it right through his pores at one point in time, and Wolverine was hurt, but then he healed up, and with those bone claws, he almost killed him again because now you can't throw him around. Now you can't throw him around like that.
You should have left a trace in there or something. You can.
Why did he pull it off of him? What? I understand, like, for the story, like,
because
it would have been easy for him to just, crush him, like crush his entire body.
Well, he pulled it out of him because it actually shored up his skeleton, is how he could carve through metal and stuff with his claws, because Wolverine was such a force to be reckoned with. It made him heavier. He went from 200 to 300 pounds, but you couldn't like really hurt him. It made his already like deer strength bones like Mack trucks. So you could run it, you could hit him with a tractor trailer, but you're not going to break one of his bones because they're coated in adamantium. So you could defeat him, but like you really couldn't kill him. So you really couldn't stop this guy. So he said, forget that. All right, and ripped it all out of him. But I think actually his healing factor is actually stronger without it, because the adamantium was like poisoning Wolverine's body because it's poisonous. So it was slowing down his healing factor. So he actually, he could break his bone claws though. They can't rip through everything. His bones are just super hard. But he ripped it out of him with good reason, because it makes more sense, because in a way he's less lethal without that harder skeleton, and you could kill him or defeat him easier, but in a sense he's actually harder to beat without it too, because he's not dumb. He's actually smart. So Yeah. So
That would have probably given him near Deadpool regeneration.
yeah, yeah. Deadpool's regeneration is insane too. Wolverine does not have the fastest regenerative qualities. He does not. But yeah, and that is my whole point. So like Wolverine can track things. He's got a super sleuth nose. He can smell people and sense. He can track folks like crazy. He has the claws that he can rip through things with. But here's the thing. Uh my brother and I, we like the show Hunter x Hunter because there's 6 classifications of like nin users. Nin is like, think Dragon Ball Z. It's like that energy, that your energy, the type of your energy, right? You have enhancers that can use their energy and pump their muscles up or pump their legs up and make a jump across 2 roofs, right? You can pump energy into your shut up, dummy. You can pump energy into your muscles and jump around from rooftop to rooftop or building to building in New York City, right? You enhance your body with your energy, right? Then you have emitters that can fire that energy in shapes or explosive waves or gushes or beams or something like that, like Dragon Ball Z. Those guys are emitters. The Super Saiyans can pump them energy into their body and make themselves faster, stronger. Those are emitters, right? Then you have conjurers who can create stuff with their energy, like and basically, watch this. If I am an emitter, Curtis is an enhancer, you're a conjurer, Xavier is a specialist where he can do them all well. We bring all those together, we don't have a weakness. You realize that, right? We don't have a weakness. And that's the point of this stuff. I know it kind of went nerdy on it, but hey, you know, I've been a nerd all my life, whether I was a skinny nerd or a buff nerd. You know, it don't matter.
Yes, he has.
Yes,
Yes, he
shut
has.
it, shut it. I don't need you agreeing.
Oh, okay, my
I don't
bad.
need you to
My
agree,
bad. I
sucker.
thought,
Nobody asked your input.
yeah.
That was not the time
Oh,
to
my
chime
bad.
in. Yes, you're bad, and don't do it again. I'm
Or
gonna drop Curtis off the call in just a second. So Fermi was a recent IPO that I got in at on 19 shares. Even it got hit with 4% in the past month. Look at that, bam! It IPO'd on October 1st at 21 bucks, and it's still sitting at 27. So even that, I'm not worried about it. And right here, if you want to know what it is, Texas-based energy tech company that's developing a hypergrid campus near Amarillo to integrate nuclear, natural gas, solar, wind, battery power to deliver gigawatt. I think is how you say that. It's gigawatt, but if you if you watch
I
Back to the
think
Future,
Gigawatt's a Pokemon.
yeah, well, if you ever seen Back to the Future, the crazy scientist would be like
Yeah.
19 gigawatts, and then he would do the little put the wire together, and then the coolest thing back then, and you're like, wow, these graphics suck now. But anyway, they're an energy company, and so I saw that coming out, and I said, well, there's a use case for this, right? Because clean energy, different types of energy we're looking for. And there's a need for this because look at the electric vehicles coming out. There's also, and they're lesser known, there's also the compressed gas cars. What do you call them? The Honda Clarity is one. Insight or something, huh?
You got it.
What is that?
It's like
Compressed gas?
compressed gas, hydrogen cell cars, hydrogen cell. So
It's not
Is it
hydrogen.
ionic?
It's helium.
What are you thinking?
that's what it says. Hydrogen cell. I don't know. That's what
Yeah,
it said.
It's from Archer.
Oh, okay. So you have that technology. So you have regular gasoline, diesel. You have the hyper gasoline or the race fuel, like 110 octane. You could argue it's the same thing, whatever. electricity, hydrogen cell, man, and we've had wind power before with boats on the ocean. They still have boats that use the wind to sail and navigate, right? Solar power. I mean, it just made sense. The use case is there. The market is there. Um,
Keep in mind, AI data centers are trying to use nuclear and all other powerful forms of technology, or
let's
else they're
talk
going to have
about
to
it.
upgrade the surrounding grid by by millions,
Talk about it.
millions upon millions, just so they're not overdrawing the grid and shutting down their local cities
It will
to run
shut
AI
down.
data centers. So anything that's driving, yeah, anything that's driving AI data center technology is another sector where I want to put my money, because AI data centers will start to give quantum, I think, more rise, because as these things can think on their own, they can start to create solutions that even humans may not have put together in information.
That's
And
right.
then iRobot and Terminator starts to happen, but so, but no, that's something that I know that a lot of banks are looking at doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies, and I pulled this up for a reason. Look how easy it is. Let me click this screen and make this big. Look, uh, look at how easy it is to find who's investing in data centers. Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta. I watch this all the time on Market Mondays and Earn Your Leisure. I post this stuff usually when the show hits. I think I missed this last week, but I usually post the show after it's over or while it's live every week when it comes out. And they talk about a lot of this stuff. And so you have these companies investing in data centers. Listen, and this is what I've been saying, right? Let's stop calling AI the future. It's the right now. Companies have been using AI, and it's just you didn't know it. 10 years ago, almost 20 years ago, when I would call Navy Federal, welcome to Navy Federal. Whatever, support the military or whatever. Here's your list of options. And I've heard it so much, I should be able to say it. Like, I know the welcome to Navy Federal in there, and the voice inflection is pound for pound, 100% correct. I just can't remember what she says after that. And then she goes through the list of options. What do you think that is? That's voice AI, which is why I know a lot of companies use that. And actually, Alpha Delta here in the chat, Dustin, he put me on to this company a few years ago when it was like $2. And so I made a lot of options on this company. But SoundHound AI. SoundHound AI deals with a lot of voice AI, hence the name, I guess. But you can see these options have gone crazy, right? And it was up even more than that, like maybe another $1,500 before it went down this past week. But that's quite all right. I don't even care about all of that because I know it's going to go up because this is a very solid company. And I just broke down the earnings call for this a couple weeks ago, last week or the week prior. And I put those videos up. I've broken down their last, I think, 2 earnings calls. But this company right here, they're partnered with Lucid. If you don't know what Lucid is an electric car company where the head engineer of Tesla had left and created a luxury brand of electric car that is Lucid. The Lucid Air starts at like $70,000. It is, the way my bank account is set up, I'm not touching that. But they do not make cars for the common man. So unless you want to spend an arm and a leg on a car, stay away from Lucid. I'll say that. But SoundHound AI, look, its past year return went crazy. It was up 400% in December. And so again, and this is the one thing I want people to understand. You won't see a whole lot of companies in my portfolio. Why? Because I believe in hyper concentration, right? Don't have 10 shares. Don't have 2 shares of this and 17 of that. Have 700. Have 1,000. At 700 with this price, where this company's going, I don't have enough shares. And that's how you have to look at it. Find you a couple good companies and you need to yell with your money, with that buy button, for smack and smack the door. You better hyper concentrate, man, because think about it. You've got 10 shares. So when that price goes, the share price goes up $1, you only made $10. But if you had 1,000 shares, it went up $1,000. If you had 10,000 shares, you just made $10,000 while you were asleep or awake doing something else. Now that's passive income. Well, it wouldn't be realized income, so you're not getting taxed on it. But you get what I'm saying. So that's the market. That's what the market have done the past week. The market have really come down. And you shouldn't be concerned with it running away with your gains, because remember, you didn't lose money unless you sold. I'm going to tell you right now, my story, I started investing April 27th of 2020. My younger brother Wesley and I both hit trade on the same day. We got Robinhood, opened our portfolios the same day. And I invested 10 grand that year. And from April to December 31st, I was up to 30 grand. So I 3X to 10. And then in 2021, I put another 7 in there. And from 17,000, I flipped it to 86. And then on March 6th or March 5th, May 6th or May 5th, I think May 6th, crypto hit its peak. And I say that because the next day it dramatically started falling off and crypto just died down. After that, I hadn't hit sell on any of that stuff. I kept it. And I came all the way back to down like the 30 grand. I went on deployment May 2nd of 22 with 30 G's in my portfolio on deployment that year because it was a terrible year for the market. I was all the way down to 19 grand from 17. Just imagine, I didn't put any more money in. 17 grand, it shrank down to 19. Then it came back to 20 something and played with the 20s for a year. And then 23, things started booming. And I started this channel May of 24. And I started showing the portfolio. I hit 123 last week before it plummeted the same day. And so I say plummet, but plummet now, who cares? 20, that's 13 grand. Who cares? It's not that big of a deal when you're up in the 6 digits, but it was when I was in the 5 digits. You know, so you need time for this thing to cultivate and grow. Don't think it's just going to happen overnight. And I'm not flexing, and that's how some people will see it. Oh my God, you're flexing. Everybody's offended by everything. If I blink my eyes too fast, somebody's going to get offended. Look.
I just did.
Yeah, hang up. There's an age-old saying in the South where they say chew or eat the meat and spit out the bone. And all they mean to say there is take the main idea from what's being said. Get the message and not be offended by the messenger or the little details. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If it is, then hear the whole thing and take the main idea from it. Throw away the little details, right? Because if you don't, then you'll be offended. Because I'm going to tell you right now, again, I know we love seeing the green. We love seeing the green. See the crypto up here on the side is all green, all of it, right? But I don't have a lot of money in cryptocurrency. Y'all want to see? I'm not lying to you. Let me see. I can't do it. On the phone, I could click this and it will show you the whole thing. It's only a couple thousand invested in crypto. And actually, Stellar Lumens is probably my best return with the crypto. And this market value is only, what is it? Today's return. My equity is $1,000. There you go. So anyway, I don't really care about the crypto market right now, not really investing in that. I know we love seeing the green on this side, all of the stocks. And see, it's not a very vast portfolio, but in quantum computing, 150 shares. That's better than 12. In D-Wave Quantum, 250 shares. 500 in Orchid Island Capital. Misty, there's 1.1 thousand. Palantir 128, Nvidia 145, Robinhood 305. This is and SoundHound 700. This is what y'all got to do, man. And this is a waiting game. You are playing the waiting game because you know these companies are solid. That's why you're investing in them in the first place. You're not investing in good companies. You're not investing in great companies. You're investing in phenomenal companies. And Alex at the gym said something very key to me this morning because he also is in tech, but he's in sales, tech sales. He told me, and I want to see if I invited him today, but he already had plans and stuff. But I got his number, I gave him mine, sent him the invite. He'll be on, and I want to see if he can come on and start talking about sales. But he said something to me. He said, you know, in this generation, in this day and age, people are all about the money. They're all about the sale. So they come into your office and they try to sell you on something really quickly. And he says, see, you're a fool if you think you're going to walk into the CEO of a Fortune 500 company's office and in one conversation sell him on something. Nobody makes decisions that quickly. And you may walk, he said two things will happen. You're going to walk out thinking that you're a very smart guy. And then I can't remember what the other one was, but I said, yeah, they're never going to call you again, probably. So the thing is, he said, when I do my sales, he said, I'm going to tell you something. I do not even bring up the product. I don't even really introduce myself. I start asking them about them. My focus, learn their children's names, learn their wives' names, learn their husbands' names, learn why do they do what they do? And I said, aha, you discovered the secret behind sales. And I told him I tried sales in New York, direct sales, before I joined the Navy. And obviously I'm going somewhere with this, but I tried sales and I kept going to people and it was no. It was no when I approached them. It was no before I'd be like, no. You know what I mean? Like it was that quick, and the no's kind of hurt me back then. I didn't like getting the no's, so I was like, oh, that's going to be a no. Oh, that's going to be a no. Oh, that's going to be a no, just by how people look. And when I joined the Navy as a young air traffic controller, I'd say about half my career ago, so maybe 8.5 years, anywhere from 7 to 9 years ago, I had the game figured out. I was like, oh, I figured out sales. And it was through just talking to enough people with nothing to sell them, right? Just having regular conversations with people. And then I saw a comedian, and I don't remember who it was. I don't remember if it was Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, any of these guys. I can't think of the redhead guy's name. He was on Dave Chappelle's show, the Chappelle show, a couple times. I don't remember who I was watching, but I figured out sales through watching comedians. And see, if you're a lifelong student, you can do that. You can glean in any situation. I said, wow, I watched what he did. He came out, Cat Williams too. He came out, and instead of trying to tell you jokes right away, you know what he did? Detroit, how the hell are y'all doing? This is a beautiful crowd, man, and one of the hardest working cities in the world. And they all shouting and yelling and stuff. And man, this is y'all know y'all were the automotive capital of the world at one point in time. Man, there's industry here and there. And I'm like, man, get to the jokes in my head, right? But I started listening to the crowd. The crowd was going insane. I couldn't wait for the jokes to start, right? We're going to get to the chats in just a second. Let them keep coming and I'll answer them. But I was waiting for the jokes to start. But what I did was pay attention to what happened. He kept doing that, First like 5 minutes in. And I'm going to tell you, everything he said after that was funny. To the crowd, everything he said after that was funny. And I learned a very valuable lesson. There's our youngest brother right there. He just jumped in. This is the one I was saying I told to look up local realtors and banks and credit unions when he went to that event like a month ago. So this is him. But I noticed what he did. He captured the crowd by relating to them first. And I said, there it is. It's relationship. Before you sell, and this goes all the way back to the conversation I said I had with Alex this morning. He said, people don't buy things. They don't buy products. They buy the idea of the person, their character, their relationship with the person. That's what you sell them on. That you don't sell them on the person necessarily, but that's what they're buying, right? And I was like, yeah, I figured that out in the Navy, dude. And I'm telling you, it was a great conversation. And sales is like the highest earning skill you can have, pound for pound. Sales earns more. It out earns like anything else, and it's not even close. And so I'm hoping to have that blacksmith come on and show us his craft mastery in sales later on. But let's get to the chats real quick. What do we got?
Hey,
Time.
get the Misty one first if you can.
Let me do this one. Time to buy. No. It's not time to buy just yet unless you're tracking the company you're interested in and it's already dropped at least 10%. I go for 15 to 20%, but we don't know how long this drop is going to be. This could be a temporary drop. But I will say, here's the rule of thumb. If you are projecting the drop or the period of time to last for quite some time and you're already at 10%, you can start, you can wait, right? Because it may drop to 15, 20, 25, 30, right? But if you're not that sure, shut it. If you're not that sure, and we got inside jokes for days, man. If you're not that sure, like, oh, this might just be a quick drop and you got 10%, hit that buy button and now look, I am not licensed, but my opinion is professional and I do have some experience in this. If that drop is not projected to last, that drought not projected to last that long and you're already at 10%, I would say get in there because that means when the market starts recovering, it is not going to go any lower than 10 maybe, right? Maybe it goes 12, but it's going to shoot back up to either where it was. And if you bought at 10, at a deficit of 10, guess what? If it just goes back to what it was, you now have 10% equity gain. It's just that quick, right? And then if it starts going back up with the rest of the market, now you're above that, right? And so, but you never buy near the 52-week high. Don't ever do that. I didn't mean to have that rhyme, but I got bars, financial bars. All right, let's get to this Misty. No, we could do yours first. Some caveats. Don't buy near the 52-week high. And that's just because I had already just said it. So I saw that and I'm like, well, let me just do this first. Dividends pay. Huh? What does that mean?
What does that mean?
All right, let's look at this right now. I'm glad you asked. All right, because I have the calculator up on the screen, but let's look at this. I'll show you right now. See, I knew we should have got to this one first. All right, Robinhood, right here. Y'all can see my screen. Let me make this bigger. Let me make this chat disappear. All right, let's scroll down here. So all of this information, people bypass this and they just look at the price of the stock and whether it's green, trending upward, or red, trending downward. That's where you lose out on because all this stuff means something. But let's scroll down to this. The key statistics is where you want to focus, right? I can't click anything or it's going to black this screen. All right, so right down here, the last two things, 52-week high. How many weeks are in a year? 52. So that's why we use 52 weeks. Don't use 12 months, 52 weeks. All right. So the 52-week low for Robinhood, each share price is $23, but the 52-week high is $153, meaning that in the past year, Robinhood went from $23 to $153 at its peak. At its lowest, it was at 23. So imagine if you bought at 23 and it's ran all the way up to 153. Now, so it's at 139 right now. So it is near the 52-week high. That's what we're talking about. But watch, I opened the calculator twice like an idioto. All right. So let's say that 52-week high, 153.86. Now, what did I say? You want to see ideally about a 20% drop, but I'll take 10 to 15. But let's go times 0.2, 20%, right? That's a $30 drop. Now you just do minus 153.86. I know it's going to be a negative number, but you know it's a positive, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, if it hits 123 and $123.08, that would be your 20% drop from its 52-week high. That's how you do that equation. That's what that looks like. Now, if you want to do just 10%, so you can start getting in, it should be easy math.
About 0.9.
Yeah. 0.9, 10%?
If that would tell you what your 90% is that it should go to.
Oh,
By the
yeah,
way.
you could do that. Yeah, you could do it that way. That's true. So you needed to hit 138.47, and it's almost there right now. It's at 139. So it's about 9% down from its 52-week high right now. So is it time to buy? I don't know, because, and I brought this up before, I think it was Dustin brought this up to me yesterday. I think it was him. Let's get rid of Magneto. Let's get rid of the data centers. Tariffs. Tariffs got announced. What were you going to say? Somebody's going to talk?
No, sorry, you got me.
Okay. All right. So more tariffs were announced. What's this guy's name? Xi Jinping? I think that's his name. More tariffs got announced. And if you just read the headlines, Trump announces extra 100% tariff on Chinese goods starting next month. So if that goes through, do you think we're done falling yet? Free falling like Tom Petty?
No. And you have to be very careful of the stock that you buy, and if it has a direct or even indirect influence, because if a lot of businesses bank with Robinhood or invest in any of their products and they're affected, that affects Robinhood's bottom line too. So then, yeah, you'll directly or indirectly influence the price of the stocks this way.
So you're right. And so, Mr. Cyril, this is where I was saying, man, look, we're going to call him C money. So this is what I'm saying.
Nope.
Do you think C note? I like that one. Rush Hour 2. You got them C notes still? So you kind of, all this news right here, utilize some financial literacy terms. These are indicators, right? And these indicators, they're indicators of what? Of what the market might do, right? We don't know what the monkeys won't do, but we know what the indicators say the market might do.
Wow.
And I know, Frieza. Wow. That was not a racist joke. That was from Animaniacs, this cartoon that used to come out in the 90s. And that was one of the songs. I'm about to get canceled. So look, the show's not monetized anyway. So if it's canceled, I can't earn super chats. It ain't monetized anyway. But the Cashapp is on there on any video you go and watch. I make sure ain't nobody donated to it. But look, closed mouths don't get fed. So anyway, That's an indication of what the market might do. Now, look, I pulled up the chart year to date. So since January 1st, if you didn't know what year to date means, it means since the start of the year. So every year to date is since January 1st. Now, 1 year is from this day last year to this day this year, right? But this one is since January. So you'll see it started right here. It says January 2nd because on the 1st, the market was closed, obviously, right? A federal holiday, the market's not open. And I guess nobody ever said that. So right here, you see it peaked in February, then down. And I don't remember what month he mentioned the tariffs. I think it was March. But look, it's all the way down here. Come on. March 11th, $36. Back up in March, down at $35 in April. And I think this was actually around the bottom of the market, period. About April 7th, around that time frame, give or take a week or two, right? This was typically the bottom. So even if you bought right here, and now let me explain something to you. Everybody was scared around this time. Around this time, everybody was scared to put their money into the market. And that's why the typical investor will lose out, or the person who's trying to get into investing, because you know what can help that? Platforms like this right here, communities like this right here. Because we would have told people, no, now is the time to drop that 10 grand into the market. Don't wait until the news is, oh, stocks are booming. The NASDAQ saw a 3% gain, and you know, the Dow Jones and all the S&P 500's up 5%. That is not the time to put your money into the market. But it is the time, it's always time to drop the money into your buying power, but it's not the time to pull the trigger on buying stocks. But everybody does that. That for the I'd say 80% of people have invested that way. And that's why they lost money. That's why they always need, come on, lucky number 7. They're betting it all on 7. They need it to go up and go up and go up and go up. Why? Because they bought it high. So they need the trend to keep going. But when they buy it, a week later, it's down. Why? Because they bought it high. And that's the number one place. If you want no stress from the market, you need to master where you buy in at. And guess what? If you bought in at a good price, let's say you did pull the trigger because he said time to buy. Let's say you did pull the trigger on buying it last week because it was at an 8% dip. And now it goes to 15. Guess what you can do? You can buy some more, right? So that's called dollar cost averaging, right? You dollar cost average. No, I'm sorry. It's called averaging down. If you bought it too high, when it drops way below, so like Misty, if you wanted to chase that equity, because somebody asked about Misty, and I'm guessing it was just what's up with it, what you can do is buy more Misty at a lower price. So Misty was like in the $20, right? Now it's at $12.85. Okay, you see, look, I'm an open book here. I've lost $6,800 in equity in this. So market value right now is 14 G's. So I've lost a lot. But on the other hand, it did pay me $1,000, and it paid me that 2 times, once in August and once in September. So all things considered, I'm actually down $4,800 all in all in this, right? You could panic and sell it, or you could hold it because it's going to hit a point where it like bottoms out and the equity stops going down, right? And it's a risk I'm willing to take. You see what my portfolio's at. Now, when it was in the 30s, that's a hit I can't take. I would have never even probably put money in this to begin with, right? I like stable investments. That's why you go with stable investments. If it's a shaky, or if you see that dividend amount jumping around from month to month, it's not stable. Don't even worry about buying it. It's not stable. But this will hit a point where it stabilizes, even if the equity doesn't necessarily return to like $30 or 20 something dollars, it may stabilize at 12. And if it keeps kicking out a really good dividend, eventually in dividends, I'll surpass what I lost in equity. and it's a risk I'm willing to take right now. But this is riskier when it comes to, this is the riskiest investment I have in my portfolio. This one's it, right? But it's not going to break the bank if it goes belly up. It's not, because even with all that money I just lost, if I sold it right now, I'll get 14 grand back, and I can just put that in something and make that 30% back. It's not a big deal. Look, they can take your money, but they can't take your knowledge. And they can take your money and make you down and out. But if you have a community around you, we can always help you get it back. And that's what this community is for. So I don't remember where I was going with these dividends, but what's up with Misty? Misty was not a very good, solid investment anyway. It started less than 2 years ago, right? And look, the dividend for the first month, I remember it was like $4.40, right? And what Misty probably is, and so it hasn't figured out what it wants to do yet. Misty, I guarantee you, the initial investors in this made all the money. They put $1 million into this, or $10 million, and they paid them $4.40 worth of dividends on each share that they had. So they gleaned all that money. And so now that it's actually the actual share price is coming down to where it's supposed to be, they're going to have to recover all that money that they paid their buddies in dividends. Now, I'm just speculating, allegedly, right? But you can read about it here. It seeks to provide current income and capped gains in micro strategy stock, MSTR, through a synthetic covered call strategy collateralized by cash and U.S. treasuries that I can read. The actively managed fund, I can't read, uses both standardized, exchange traded, and flex options. That's a bunch of gobbledygook we're trying to do something new is what it sounds like here, right? And they're trying to be, to me, it seems like they're trying to be an answer for long-term, like solid dividends. But I think their way of kicking out that $4.40 dividend to the that was their way of giving the angel investors a bonus. And now when it's coming down to the price that it's actually supposed to sit at, it's going to stabilize soon. But that's just my hunch. I don't know. So Misty, I would say uninvestable right now. I wouldn't take a risk on it until it stabilizes. If you want a good, and I think I'm answering your question in chat here. Looks like it's gone down since, yeah, I'm answering you. If you want a more stable dividend, invest into some REITs, real estate investment trust. This has been my champion REIT since I started doing this. I had Orchid Island Capital. I had Ellington Credit Company, which is no longer tradable on Robinhood. I've had what was the other one? ARR, Armour Residential REIT. Pound for pound, Orchid Island Capital gives the best return. It's only $7.10 because look, I've lost a little on my investment here. But when I first started buying this, I think it was $9 or $10. And then it's lost over the years. So you would think, oh, this is a terrible investment, right? Because it used to be $30 in 2021, and now it's down at $7. I didn't have it all the way up there. And it returns solid returns and dividends. And look, if you look, it has kind of evened out on its equity. The flatter this line is, the more even keel it is and stabilized it is. The higher this mountain peak, the more Everest this is, the more unstable it is. So it's coming down to stability. And so I look at that like this. Well, it's kicking me dividends every month, and it's down to $60 because I was getting a lot more, I think over almost $200 a month. And I took some of that money, I cashed it out and put it into Misty. That's where the money came from. So I used money that I earned and put it into a different investment. But if you want a more stable dividend returning asset, it'd be this one. So this one used to give me like $12 the first 100 shares. Now I'm up to 67. Now I'm up to 165. That was just May of this year. And this is monthly, by the way. This is a monthly paying dividend stock. And my last dividend was August, $187. That's per month. So if you really want something that in 10 or 15 years you keep, and I was putting $15 a week into this, and at $7, that's going to buy you 2 shares a week. How many weeks in a year? 52. So that's going to buy you at least 104 shares every year through passive investing. Now that's called dollar cost averaging if you passively invest throughout the year on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. That's called dollar cost averaging. But like with Misty, if you bought it while it was up here and it fell down here, buy a lot more down here. Or if you could throw a chunk of money, it's going to cost you less to buy more shares down here. It'll bring your the average you bought it at down. That's called averaging down. So it's 2 different things. So that's where I'm at with Misty. If Misty kicks me another $1,000, guess what? It's going to reinvest it at $12, and it's going to buy me a lot more shares than it did when it was at 18. So that's going to help me average down. So if you keep just letting the dividends roll, you don't really worry about the equity so much. But if you were to ask me, should I invest in Misty right now? I would tell you no. Go for Orchid Island Capital. This one kicks out 20% return. Where is it at? 20.34% return per year. So for every share you have, it's going to return you 20%. And right now that is at 12 cents per share per month, right? So if you take, that's why it kicked me out $12. I bought 100 shares when I first purchased it. So 100 shares, 12 cents, that's $12. So I have 500 shares. It's easy math. If I had 1,000, it would kick me out 120 shares. Well, I don't. I have half of that. Well, that's why $60. So $60, if this goes down from $7.10, then it'll buy me more shares than if it goes up to $8. So I don't really care about the equity so much in a dividend stock. There's a dividend paying stock and there's an equity stock. The equity stock, you worry about if it dropped $10. The dividend stock is going to return you money every single month, and the equity doesn't move that much from month to month or year to year. Not concerned. I care if the dividend percentage decreases. Does that make sense, everybody? We on par with that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So the reason why I invest in dividends as well is because I think about when I'm 60. I think about my 50-year-old self, and I always ask the question here, with what you're doing and the moves you're making, the amount of money you're spending on frivolous stuff, on shoes, sneakers, clothes, apparel, cars, video games, whatever. If your 50-year-old self could reach back in time right now and touch you, would that be a warm embrace? Like, thanks, bro, for all the work you put in, because I live a way better life. We have 5X what we are doing in the market. We own 3 homes now. We're married with kids. Or would he slap your teeth down? If you never had a parent that if you didn't get spankings, I just look like a demon to you. I just look like a demon to you if you never got whoopings. But if you got whoopings, you understand the butthole mouth. Yeah, so you understand that. So
I'm telling
I'd be
Mom.
getting that.
I'm telling.
Tell her.
I'd be getting the good old threatening backing.
Yeah, I would have got the pimp hand.
What the hell are you doing?
I would have got the pimp hand probably more than 10 years ago. Around 30, I think I was already smarter, but just not investing yet. I didn't start investing until I hit 34, so I'm way behind the power curve. So I'm not looking for good companies that's getting 10%. That's good. The average is 10% a year. I'm not looking for great companies getting like 20 to 30% a year. No, I'm playing catch up. So I need an Olympic sprinter pace in my portfolio. I need to be breaking the sound barrier to catch up to where the average, and I'm talking about successful person that's been in putting 10 to 20% away since they were 18 because they got taught this kind of stuff, financial literacy from their parents. You know, one thing Alex from the gym said to me this morning that was awesome. He said his dad always taught him, or no, who taught him this? No, it was just his theory. His way of thinking was that if you don't know how to maintain something, you shouldn't have it. So he does his own maintenance on his cars. He does his own work in his house and around his house. If you don't know how to maintain something, you shouldn't have it. Well, how many of us, what percentage of people get money and never learn how to manage it first?
Most of Americans,
There you go. There you go. And so,
including myself.
and so why do you think? So it should be no wonder why one missed paycheck could make somebody lose their house, their car, and start them on a downward spiral. That's why most people live paycheck to paycheck, because we do not teach this stuff. We just don't teach it. And if we don't teach it, whether you're a Christian or not, this can hit home, right? The Bible does say, train up a child in the way that he should go. I think this is in Proverbs. Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Solomon wrote Proverbs. Solomon was known as being the wisest man ever. And so if you are not a Christian, you can still get the wisdom from this, because they weren't even called Christians back then because Christ hadn't arrived to the earth yet, historically, right? He wasn't here yet, right? Solomon was one of his forefathers. So if you think about it, the principality of what he is saying is what you teach your children is going to be the principles they stand for and live by when they are older. So if you did not teach them to have a good relationship with money, they will be like everybody else and have a terrible relationship with money. And so I am proud to say, maybe 2 months ago, I was taking the boys for haircuts, Trey and Waylon. And I was like, hey, boys, most people give their kids electronics nowadays for car rides. They can't just let the kids sit in there. Oh, they're going to be bored. It's not the kid that's worried about being bored. It's the parent, because boredom is the worst thing for a kid, right? When we only had 13 channels on a TV screen, I was bored sometimes. And you know what I did? I went and got unbored. I go outside and play. Hey, Curtis, you want to do this? And we start jumping from couch to couch or running around. We make our own fun. The parents are
Plastic rock with a plastic bat.
Yeah, we would go smack rocks with plastic bats out until we had 5.5 acres of land, and it was only like
plastic bags.
No. Now that would be a wonder. We should be in Guinness Book if we could do that. Using our nin to enhance the bag. No, I'm just playing. So you get what I'm saying, though. Like, we would go make our own fun. I don't give the kids electronics like that. In fact, our house rule is usually that video games don't come on until the evening when the sun is down, or it's super cold outside, or it's raining outside. Okay, now you can be inside, watch TV, play video games. But if it's a great day, you see that sunlight penetrating the window? Nope, time to go outside. I'll put on my rollerblades, go around the neighborhood with the kids. They'll ride their bikes, scooters, or blades. And they'll go be active. You know why our kids are active and outside on Saturday, Sunday, even Mondays, Monday through Friday throughout the week? Because I'm out there, because we push them to go out there. And I want to start letting them go throughout the neighborhood by themselves, but they're still learning to look both ways before they cross the street. But if they can get to the point where, so I was taking Waylon and I was going to pick up the other kids. He's in kindergarten, so he gets out like 2 hours prior to them. So I was taking him to go pick up the other kids and the other three. And I remember going through the neighborhood. I was almost at the stop sign to turn out of it. And there were these 3 kids. I saw them going to school when I was taking the kids to school in the morning. And they were walking to school. And I was like, wow, those kids are young and they're walking to school. Because we have an elementary school within the neighborhood, within the community. And they were walking home and they were about to cross the street. They were a quarter of the way crossing the street. And then they saw me coming. And the one kid in the front seemed like the oldest was like, oh, hey, hey. And the other 2 were just la, 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 la. And then they looked and they started to teeter back. And I looked because there were no cars coming down turning the corner at the start of the street and nobody behind me. And I didn't see anybody left or right. So I said, no, come on. Because if you tell, in certain states, if you tell somebody to cross the street, you take the liability if somebody else hits them. So I made sure they got across the street because
Same
that's
thing for waving somebody on, be like, yeah, go ahead, come on. And someone hits them, and it's your fault.
It's your fault. You better speed off. No, I'm just playing. That's a crime. Don't ever do that. I was just kidding. These are just jokes written by 85 South. So what I did, I want other people to do for my kids. So because I want them to be able to play outside independently of the adults, because they got into the habit of they could only have fun if daddy was playing with them. So, so I couldn't break away and do a show like this. Now I've run about 2 hours today, which I typically don't do. I usually try and keep it about an hour, but look, we just keep on churning and burning. So I'm going to end this in about 10 minutes, but let me get to these other chats and then listen. If it's money related, use the investing link, type your responses in there, put articles in there, use it all week long. We are posting stuff. If you hear news about a company, if you want to know about a company, we can tell you where to look. We will tell you where to go, but you have to utilize that, or else it's just like the best tool that you're not using. And it profits you nothing. If you want to punch nails into your fence out back, then the hammer profits you nothing. You get bloody knuckles, and the hammer sitting there like, well, I can do this. I can help you, and you won't even be hurt. But you're hurting yourself by not using the right tool for the job. And it's not going to work, and it's going to take you forever, which is why we invented tools. But this Discord channel is one of the best tools in your toolbox, guaranteed, because it connects people together, and the world runs on relationship, not Duncan. All right, what do we got? Orca good by now. Yes, it is. Let's get to rounds first.
Yeah, I was looking.
I forgot the PE is also important. They need to be profitable and not operating out a negative net. So Curtis just talked about what PE ratio was. I challenge everybody this week. What I want you to do is I want you to go look up these key statistics, right? Under a stock. Just one. And I want you to tell the group what market cap means, what PE, price earnings ratio, means, what dividend yield means. Don't do dividend yield. We know what that. No, do it. Do all of them. I'm going to see if I can get everybody to do every single one of these and break down to everybody in the investment channel of the Blacksmith podcast server, because it's a server and then there's channels. I want these things broken down this week. Let's see if we can do that, because that'll tell me that people are actually looking at this and know what it means. Because if the PE ratio is off, then that company is in debt. It doesn't have cash on hand. And that's one of the things we really liked about Boxable. They had millions on hand, and they were a small company with a small overhead. So yeah, you're right. If you can't fix it, you don't earn it. He's pointing to it here. Is Orca good by now? Absolutely good, sir. And here's what I do. I set up a $15 recurring investment on ORC. Like I said, look, it's been going. This opened up to May and April, but you can see 15, 15, 15, 15, 15. What does that do? Every week, it's buying you 2 shares. So by the end of the 52 weeks, it has bought you 104 shares. So what does that do? It dollar cost averages your equity out the whole year. And then you're not concerned with whether the price went up or down, because at its lowest, you bought it. At its highest, you bought it. And at its average, you bought it. So you dollar cost average. That's what that means. So it's a good one, and it returns 20%. You would be hard pressed to find another stock. First of all, most companies do not pay a dividend, and out of the ones that do, the average dividend is 3 to 5%. But most of those companies, that dollar amount you're going to pay for one share is going to be so off the chain that you're going to buy fractional shares with what you can buy multiple shares with for ORC. See, Pepsi Cola, $150 even, and they pay a dividend of 3.7%. So that's going to be a high amount of money, higher than what you would get from Orchid. But look, with $150, here's the equalizer, right? $150 divided by, what was it, 7? What was it, 7 something? Let's say 750. I don't think it's over that. You can get 20 shares. Now, 20 times, oh, shoot. How am I supposed to do this? Curtis, help! I know how to do this.
You got 20 shares, and if each of those shares
12 cents.
gives you
So
20, I would just say
it's 12 cents. I figured it out.
Yeah.
So $2.40 is what it would pay you every month for having 20 shares. But that $2.04 after, I guess, 3 months would buy you another share on top of.
To sit down. You get it when you sit down. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me. I've been sitting the whole time. So whatever it is, let me have it.
Shut it.
No, I'm talking about. But that's just what I'm saying. So like you can, and what does that do? 20 shares times that one. If that moves $1, you made $1. If this moves, you made $20. And also remember, hyper concentration. That $150 can hyper concentrate you in one company versus barely dip your toenail into the water. What else do we got down here? Xavier, piggyback on HUD info. Check this website out. All right, look in the chat. Get this HUDuser.gov. So you here, so you can check how much money the government is paying for each apartment. They break it down by zip code and different area. No, I'm just playing. And they go from studios to 3-bedroom apartments. Look at that. See what I'm saying? Look, this is the connect right here. Forget the club. Forget mixers. No, this is it right here. Y'all have the connect. The Blacksmith podcast server. Let's get it. Let's see what this entails.
So real quick, you do a weekly recurring buy?
A weekly what? No, yes. I do $15. You don't have to. 15 was a good number. It's not going to break the bank for me. That's only $60 a month. And again, it's on a weekly basis. So it's dollar cost averaging. And then, it buys 2 shares. I did it because it's at least buying 2. All right, folks. But that's all the time I got for this week. I actually do have to go out. I almost had 2 hours, but I got to get to the family. It is Saturday.
Yeah,
but
I expected it to be flying through the room already.
Yeah, La Chancla. But I don't want that one. I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you for joining me and rocking out with me today. And again, next week, Saturday, 10:00, be there, be square, PST, right? Pacific Standard Time. I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all next week. But utilize that channel, investing, the Forge, if it's not money related, and real estate. Now we have that. If it's real estate related, like HUD, put it in real estate. All right, folks, the Forge is going cold.
Questions. Any questions y'all got is not a dumb question. Ask it. Someone can help.
It might be dumb. We'll laugh later offline. We just won't put ha ha ha. No, we won't put ha 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 in there, but we might do that ourselves. But hey, you don't care as long as you get the info, right? All right, folks. We'll holla later next week.